Hi there, I'm Kim Sedgwick.
And I'm Amy Sedgwick of Red Tent Sisters.
And ecosex.ca. Today's question is, what is a menstrual cup and how do I use one? Well, I have to say that the Diva Cup, which is what we're going to talk about today, is probably the best thing that I ever did for myself. It saves you so much money and way better for the environment and way better for your body. So it's like a win-win-win.
Yeah, and it's also really convenient.
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially if you're traveling,
camping,
any of those things. Yeah. So there's lots of benefits to using a menstrual cup. The reason we're going to talk about the Diva Cup mostly is that the one that's available here in Canada, but there are menstrual cups available around the world, so depending on where you live, you may have different options. So everything that we talk about in terms of the Diva Cup should be applicable to all menstrual cups. So what exactly are they? So they look like this. The idea is that you fold them up and then insert them vaginally. They open once they're inside you, and they collect rather than absorb your menstrual blood. So the really nice thing about that is then there's no risk of toxic shock the way there is with tampons, because you're not absorbing other body fluids, you're just absorbing your menstrual blood.
Yeah.
Okay. One of the most common questions that we get is it going to hurt or be uncomfortable? So I'll be honest, the first few months I was wearing it, I was like, oh, there's this new thing inside my body and it feels a little bit weird. But once you get the hang of inserting it properly and your body gets used to it, you shouldn't feel it at all. Like, I honestly forget it's in there. Sometimes I have to be like, mental note, Kim, change your Diva Cup. So there is a learning curve, but you should get to a point where it's not painful or uncomfortable at all.
Yeah, absolutely. Another one of the common questions that we get is how often do you have to empty it? So as Kim mentioned, it does collect. So some people, when they see like the pointy thing, they think it's a funnel. It's not a funnel. There's, it's a solid bottom. So you take it and you have to dump it, and people want to know, well, how often do you have to do that? So it shouldn't be very often. We usually tell people when you first get it, the best thing to do is just empty it as often as you would change whatever you're used to using. So if that's pads or tampons, whatever, just do it with the same frequency until you get used to what your flow is like. A typical woman's menstrual flow is about 30 to 45 milliliters. And the Diva Cup here, this line that's not quite to the top is 15 milliliters. So, if you go based on that, it should really only get up to this line 2 to 3 times over the course of the entire menstrual cycle. So, usually for most women about 5 to 7 days. So by that, you don't have to empty it very often at all. Like once a day would probably be sufficient. For those of you like me who have a very heavy flow, you may need to empty it a little bit more. So I have quite a heavy flow, and on my heaviest day, I typically will empty it 2 to 3 times. So once first thing in the morning, and then usually, if I were out at work, then when I get home from work, or sometime early evening, and then maybe again before bed. So yeah, it works great for women with heavy flow because you do, need to empty it way less than you would normally change other things. So it's a lot more convenient when you're going out and about. Yeah.
The next question that we get quite a lot is, how do you clean it, especially if you're out, right? So if you're in a public washroom, what we recommend doing is wash your hands before you go into the stall, empty it, put it back in, and then just clean it the next time you're at home or in like a single stalled washroom. You don't have to be washing it with soap and water every single time, as long as all it's coming into contact with are your clean hands.
Yeah, absolutely. When I'm at home, I just dump it, and then I rinse it very quickly in hot water in the sink and then put it back in.
And then I boil mine at the end of my cycle, because then I like to know that it's like totally clean, and then I put it in the cute little pouch that it comes with and know that it's all ready for my next cycle.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the last question that we usually get asked is, how often do you have to replace the product? Because in terms of cost savings, people want to be able to evaluate it on that merit. And that's a tough one for us really to answer, because it really varies by product, and they each have kind of their own guidelines on their website. And some of it has more to do with legalities than practicalities. So we do advise you to kind of follow whatever it is that, are the guidelines on the site for the product that you purchase. For the Diva Cup, they do recommend once per year. But we also happen to know that one of the reasons they had to do that was because people were using harsh chemicals on their products that was breaking down the material. And if you're not doing that, it should actually last a lot longer. So, our advice would be to, use your common sense. If the product looks like it's falling apart, if it's getting discolored or tacky.
If it has an odor, that's the other thing, because silicone shouldn't actually absorb anything. So if it has an odor, it means it is absorbing, which means that the material's been compromised.
Yeah, absolutely. So my very first menstrual cup was actually the one from the US. It was the Keeper, and I had that for nearly 10 years. And I got a new Diva Cup after I had my daughter, because they do have 2 sizes, one for kind of pre-childbearing and one for after.
Also over 30 and under 30 is the other recommendation.
Yeah, and my daughter is 9 now, so I've had that one also about 8 years. I think I might have replaced it somewhere in there because I think I lost one. But yeah, I mean, it is an amazing cost savings, you know, if you don't have to replace it regularly. But even if you do follow the guidelines for Diva Cup and replace it once a year, it's usually around $40.
Around $40. So when you think about how much you spend, I mean, if you spend $5 to $10 a month on menstrual products over the course of a year, you've already saved yourself money.
Yeah. So either way.
We hope that's been helpful. If you've got a question, you can submit it to thesisters@redtentsisters.com. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter. Make sure to sign up for our newsletter to find out more what's happening in the sisterhood. Thanks so much. Have a great day.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.